live analysis, expert trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human trafficker.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
She said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
She said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting.
Welcome back. It's still open conversation on Atlantic Television Network. With me on the show this morning is Dr. Emmanuel Irayanama. Dr. Emmanuel is a chartered mediator and socio-political analyst. Good morning, Dr. Emmanuel.
Good morning, Laurentia. Good morning, listeners.
And on to the story. The ruling All Progressive Congress on Thursday ordered aggrieved party members and proxies in Benue State who have individually gone to court over the leadership crisis in the state to withdraw their cases or risk facing disciplinary action. The warning is coming on the heel of an alleged Cold War between the camp of the state governor Hyacinth Alia and the secretary to the government of the Federation, Senator George Akume. The face-off between the two political leaders was said to have torn the party apart in the state. Reacting to the refueled via a statement on Thursday. The ruling APC, through its National Secretary, Senator Ajibola Bashiru, ordered all warring members to withdraw their court cases. Bashiru who stated that the decision was taken at the 146th meeting of the National Working Committee. Now, Dr. Emmanuel, there has been a lot of crisis, politically orchestrated crisis in Benue State. You know, the war between two political gladiators. Do you think this, at this point in time, is a welcome development in view of what has been going on in Benue State for a while now?
Whether at this time or any time else, disagreements of this sort do nobody any good. Like they usually say, when two elephants enough to handle internal crisis and or nip them in the bud before they get out of hand. The statement of APC at this time for me is belated. It shows a mismanagement of the crisis in the first instance. APC will not claim not to know when this started, as it were. It's part of the problem with almost all the political parties, not as if it's just an APC thing. Okay. They seem to lack the will, the power internally to nip matters in the bud until they go haywire. And then you begin to ask somebody who has a right in the first instance to litigate to forcefully withdraw his case. You're just wasting your bloody time. You will end up killing the party the more. Because they will refuse, I'm sure. Most of them will refuse at this level. And then you say you want to discipline them. You discipline them.
If you say most of them will refuse, then where lies the concept of party supremacy?
Party supremacy has a responsibility in that way. Then even the ruling party shouldn't be campaigning for people. But they should just relax and take the position that we are a ruling party and so we must win. It doesn't happen that way. Every other day you'll be looking for people. And do not forget, it is not everybody that joins a party that is a player. Mm-hmm. So if you lose your strong hands, that is, but I can tell you that as at the last general election, one of the major contenders in that election actually lost because he lost certain major persons in his house who perhaps knew his strategy and went out as a whole. The bottom line of what I'm trying to say here is that parties must take responsibility. They must look out for these problems. They must build machineries internally to see them before they get out of hand and nip them in the bud. What we have here is parties being afraid of individuals. Parties managing individuals, individual interests, to the extent or to the detriment of the party itself. Now, you can imagine the two figures that are actually involved. The Secretary of the Government of the Federation and the Executive Governor of the state. Of course, these are two major persons. It may not be surprising that this has gone to the way it has gone because at one hand, the party leadership at the national never wanted to hurt the governor or the Secretary of State Government. But here they are now. They've been forced because they're actually getting out of
between the SGF, George Akume, and Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia. You think it's a lot of water has gone under the bridge that it can't be mended?
No, I've not said that. There is no problem that is not resolvable, as it were.
So if you're saying it's belated?
No.
It gives a sense of hopelessness.
No. Okay, let me do that correction now. Not complete hopelessness.
Okay.
But it's going to be more difficult. It's going to be more difficult at the stage it is. It's going to be more difficult for the party to forcefully rein in. What they're actually doing now is to rein supposed disgruntled elements in. It's more difficult now to rein them in than if they had done it much more earlier.
When the wound has not been
Yes, because you see, conflicts are such that when they have a root, and when they are not properly managed over time, they build other roots, sometimes completely away from the real cause. And even such that even when you think you have tamed the roots, you have more problems to contend with. And that's my fear. My fear, and why I think that they will have been able to nip this much more earlier than coming now.
Okay. Ahead of the 2027 general election, the immediate past governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasser El-Rufai, on Wednesday, the former minister of the Federal Capital Territory, who is a chieftain of the ruling All Progressive Congress, was seen in a viral video on social media paying a consultation visit to the national chairman of the SDP, Alhaji Shehu Musa Gabam. According to a source private to the meeting, Gabam described El-Rufai as a friend with a high political pedigree and added that Nigeria needed transformational leaders like him. The source further added that Gabam appreciated his guest and his entourage for the visit, saying that it's time for all stakeholders in the country to put aside ethnic, regional and political differences to move the country forward, especially at this period when the country is facing serious challenges ranging from hunger, insecurity, joblessness, kidnapping, inflation, among others. El-Rufai was received by members of the National Working Committee of the party. Recall that El-Rufai has been paying consultation visits to some notable politicians across political divides in recent times. There was, however, a mild drama at the tail end of the meeting shortly after a photo session when someone was heard cautioning those taking photographs against leaking the photo of the visit on social media. But El-Rufai quickly responded, saying, "I don't care." Dr. Emmanuel, without much ado, what is your take about this? Well, what do you think is going on right now with El-Rufai?
Well, not just El-Rufai. First, that's El-Rufai for you. I don't care.
Okay.
That's who El-Rufai is. And it's one good attribute of a person who does a thing and believes in what he does and goes after it and does it the way he wants it, not minding whose ox is God. What is happening? Political realignments will continue. 2027 for politicians is just tomorrow. What's happening? Like Gaba did say there, Agbams said there, what are the basic things you find, or what you should be seeing at this time is where people in a country and the orientations, as it were. What happens to man in party A today. For El-Rufai, of course, we all know the political shenanigans that happened from his nomination. First, I think from his, you should not leave us. You have an assignment for us during the elections. And then how finally, after the election, was nominated and issues arose and was not able to pass screening. I think he nominated somebody or so who took his place finally. And then he said he was going back to school and left. One will not completely feign ignorance of the fact that perhaps he's not happy. One will not completely say that what he's doing does not have any connotation to what may happen in 2027. And these are simple facts. So, not only him, I'm very sure a lot of them are going around and they've been meeting at several levels.
Strategic meetings, realigning themselves.
So such things will continue perhaps till 2026, late end of 2026, when the real pictures will begin to show their face. But the interesting thing, and I keep saying it, for El-Rufai is the fact that he doesn't care whose ox is God. And perhaps that's what you find when he
rightly said about these political visits and, like you also rightly mentioned, political alignments, you know, with different political leaders as the case may be. Now the question is, won't the party see it, Nasser El-Rufai's party, won't they see it as anti-party activities?
For the party, yes, they could see it, but he made mention of something. When a man gets to his stage and tells you I don't care, it simply means that the party can go to hell if he wants. Absolutely, the party, if you think I do no longer have a right to discuss national issues across board. That's what we're
discussing national
that's
that be the connotation
that's the connotation he was going to give ordinarily. So if you think that I cannot discuss national issues across party lines,
political statements.
Of course, you heard what his guest said.
He says he's a good friend. That good friend, you know.
So if you say you can't see a friend,
you can.
If he tells you can't see a friend, then you're on your own. So he had actually placed. Don't mind politicians; they are very tactical. If you're not very careful, even the issue of the person talking and him saying what he said was actually pre-planned.
Yeah, the government was saying Enesa El-Rufai has been a very good friend and an ally, and then he further said it is very important for politicians to set aside regional, ethnic, and
caveats
and talk about moving the nation forward. Well, government for a long time he has not been quite outspoken in issues of governance in the country.
SDP is
so coming suddenly to say move the nation forward.
Do not forget, SDP was supposed to be an alternative vehicle.
Yeah, but Labour Party apparently is taking its place.
Well,
in terms of momentum.
I don't know.
From the last elections.
I have described the last election as an experimental thing that happened
for Labour Party.
So if anybody thinks the Labour Party is still a party, the person needs to look very well to see the other things that are happening even currently. And then tell yourself whether it is still. It still has any power under it.
We'll still come to Labour Party. We'll still come to Labour Party. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll look at the Speaker of Representatives promising President Bola Tinubu that all your bills will be passed. Don't go away.
Come and salvage us from where we are.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth. The oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring honest pop news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human trafficker.
Honorable
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth. The oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards.
It's still open conversation on Atlantic Television Network. Thank you for staying with us. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has said that whatever bill President Bola Tinubu's administration brings to the National Assembly will be passed. Abbas made this known while speaking during a dinner hosted by the President for over 60 members of the House of Representatives to break the Ramadan fast. The Speaker recalled that the recent bills that came from the presidency were treated expeditiously in the House. He affirmed that what they did was not far from a miracle, noting that the delivery of a bill within 48 hours is not an easy task. According to him, this was done because the lawmakers respected the president. The speaker asserted that there were no voices in the House against the president and his policies. Dr. Emmanuel, now, going by what Speaker Abbas said, does this in any way show the independence of the legislator from the executive?
Ordinarily speaking, there are no issues. But in a climate like ours, some level of fear comes to the mind of a listener. The legislature is supposed to be a check. And so if you come to the public and tell us this check will be waived, it raises a question whether or not you actually know that every bill, and I'm using what exactly he said, every bill you bring will be passed. It shows that most of our political gladiators do not in any way understand communication. They do not know how to talk. I'm not sure they will actually pass every bill as he has claimed.
But he also...
It's playing politics to the extreme, in my view.
He also mentioned that the bills the president brought to the floor of the House, that they were expedited, they expedited actions on them, and he further buttressed the point by saying that it's nothing short of a miracle to pass a bill
in 48 hours.
Yes, in 48 hours. What does that say? So the president gets preferential treatment, and when it comes to bills from the president, he said there are no dissenting voices.
Let's look at it this way. What are the bills that have so far gone from the executive to the legislature? If we look at those bills, most of them are people's bill. So it's, for me, playing to the gallery. As I said, it's politics going too far by way of communication.
Paying allegiance to the president.
That's what governance is ordinarily. You are supposed to pay allegiance. That's where we will have had the issue. That's where we'll have had the issue. That's why I said it's a poor communication. It's a poor way of saying a normal thing. A legislature, judiciary, and executives are supposed to be partners in government. Now, I'm not sure anybody will want to frown on it if he had said, we will partner with your government. We will look at bills you send critically with a view to supporting your policies and good governance. That will have had a different meaning, as it were. That's why I said it's a question of poor communication skill. And we find it with most of those of our brothers we find in leadership today.
Is this a case of poor communication skill, or a case of, revealing actually what is in the what is the intent? What is the intent?
I have looked at that. That's why I said I took you back down to looking at the bills so far that have been taken to the National Assembly.
He said whatever
no.
bill.
That's what he said.
Moving forward, whatever bill.
That is what he said, and I said that is playing politics to the gallery. That's what I find how he had done it. He's not the first that have done that kind of thing. The last Senate president did similar thing to Buhari. We saw him clearly telling Buhari that anything you bring, we will pass it. And so we also saw the kind of loans that they were busy passing until that tenure ended. Now, so, for me, so far, the bills that have come, student loan, what is it? Almost all the bills that have come are actually people's bills. We'll begin to actually, thank God he has told us, so we'll take extra time to begin to critically look at
these
bills and then wait then to flag them. For now, my thinking is that what he has done is playing politics to the gallery, as it were. He's just dancing for dancing's sake. When it gets down, that house is not just an APC house. Do not forget, there are opposition members in that house. Except he's telling me that As soon as they get...
He has assured the president there are no dissent. Why you say that these 3 tiers of government are supposed to be partners in governance? They are also supposed to be watchdogs. They are. They should be watchdogs.
Not as rivalries.
Not as rivalries.
We found... I'll take you back to something that happened some 7 years ago, thereabouts. Of even 5 years ago, 6 years ago, thereabouts, during Saraki. What you found in that government was not a check. It was a rivalry. For the first 4 years, it was a fight that has no meaning. It was a legislature that was making rules to hide herself. And they are busy moving from, as the law pursues them, they are always amending bills to give them further protection. That was all that House was busy doing. Now, while the next National Assembly that came did something slightly funny, they were cooperative, but to some extent, loose cooperation. So there are certain things we expect them to query that they didn't query. I won't kill him for saying what he has said now, but it's going to be an opportunity for Nigerians to be on alert, to critically looking at the things that are coming from the executive and see to what extent his real intent is in making this statement.
All right.
Like I said every other time, Nigerians should not look at the 3 arms of government as competitors. Because for government to work, these 3 arms must be cooperative. They must align. So while watching, watch for the good of Nigerians. Not because you want to exert power and say you are independent to the detriment of the people. Like the other one I said, if you look at the ordinary or the face value of the intent, as it were, the face value of those laws, they seem to be people-oriented. But the people have looked deep into that and said, no.
You mean reverse state?
Yes. So that's the kind of thing. So while the so-called Assembly, for instance, will claim to want to exert her independence by making certain laws, these laws are not for you, they are for the people. So what I expect the people to do, and I keep saying it, Abbas haven't made this statement. The people should take their time. It's certain people.
You know, don't use NLC. There have been a lot of accusations back and forth between Comrade Joe Ajero and Comrade Julius Abure. But I want to get your perspective on the whole debacle going on in Labour Party.
First, let it be on record that I said this.
Okay.
Joe Ajero is a mistake on NLC. And that's a very hard word.
That is a very strong one.
Yes, and I will explain that. I will explain that.
Okay.
Labor union is a product of a law, act. The NLC has a constitution, and I'm not sure ownership of a political party is one of the things in that constitution as kept by the trade union registrar. I'm not sure. When, and I think this is becoming, do I call it a Nigerian problem? When people get into positions and they want to become God, these are the kind of things you find. I'm not holding brief for the Labour Party chairman. Last week or thereabout, when we talked here, we found some persons taking Labour Party to, is it INEC to court or so, asking that they be registered because they've not been able to hold INEC meeting or whatever, as enshrined in the 1999 constitution, and he did it in the party constitution. So if you find the party chairman, try to run around to see how he can. The current NLC leadership is turning the labor movement away from her role. Yes, Labour Party enjoyed the support of the NLC and indeed the labor movement in the country. Yes. But at no time did we know that Labour Party was registered by NLC. It's clear there. There's no time. We must be very careful how we run things in this country.
Nigerian Labour Congress is claiming that they formed Labour Party.
I've asked a very simple thing. The Nigerian Labour Congress is a product of law. The law, as contained in Trade Union Act, the question is, do labor unions form political parties? So is that part of the functions of a labor union?
How come Nigerian Labour Congress was able to form Labour Party?
They did not. There was no time they formed Labour Party. If you remember the case with the former chairman of Labour Party, he tells you how Labour Party was formed. The former chairman of Labour Party that was dragging, almost claimed that he owned the party. I think he's in which other party now? I think he was the first presidential candidate of that party too. The gentleman from the East. So, these are simple things that people know shouldn't get into unnecessarily, as it were. So tomorrow, Nupeng will go and form a party and come and tell you the party's name is Nupeng. The NLC is a central labor organization. That's what the law says. And its functions are clearly stated in our own constitution too.
So how come Nigerian Labour Party is claiming that they are board of trustees?
See,
to Labour Party.
Politicians have a way of burning their fingers. At the time, it was good for them to co-opt NLC. It was good for them, but the realities are dawning on them that NLC wants to do hijacking or
NLC. Listen, Nigerian Labour Congress has a political wing. You're aware of that?
Hold on.
Nigerian Labour Congress has a political
Labour Party. So the Labour Party in UK, workers in United Kingdom will go and picket it because it is answering Labour Party.
So now how come Abure is now accusing the NLC national chairman of trying to destroy their successes, especially in 2020?
They work together. They were partners, as it were. People here, PDP is in government in this state. She goes to student union bodies, have agreements with them. She goes to labor, have agreements with them. Does that make them? So they work together. That doesn't make these groups finally say they own PDP. You can't say that. When election comes, we identify strong groups at the different points. Reach out to them. What Labour Party has done is burning their hand right now is to the extent of bringing in and some documentation they must have done that is getting them these bonds. 2023 election was not the first election in this country that Labour Party is not registered yesterday. They've been there since. They've been there. Abure should be about the third or fourth chairman.
But then there are issues that NLC is raising. It wasn't like this issue with Labour Congress was born out of nothing. Issues about Abure's alleged financial rascality and misappropriation of funds. And Nigerian Labour Congress is demanding Abure should give an account. Now, the ex-while national treasurer that, blowed the whistle on Abure was suspended. And even at that, I remember Peter B coming out to say, and Labour Party should be audited. There should be a breakdown, an account of monies that came in and how it was spent, especially on the side of Abure. Aisha Yesufu has come out to give a breakdown because she was in the campaign committee. But then, on the part of the party itself, Abure has not come out yet, at least to the knowledge of the public, to say these are the monies that came into my hands and this was what was done with it. And then, do not forget the controversy with the Apapa faction, which luckily he won that case in court. And then, now the issue of the National Convention was...
I won that case, they're in court.
He won Apapa there, yes, but for now he's a winner pending when it is repealed at the appeal court. Now, the issue of the National Convention now is the one that apparently is starting this whole controversy afresh.
Every party.
Now, if NLC is a part of Labour Party, like you have said, probably there is a partnership. Don't you think they have the rights, based on the investment they've made based on their antecedents with Labour Party. Don't you think NLC has the right to say the right thing?
And the right will be to take laws into your hand, to go breaking people offices, to go destroying things, to lifting things as Abure is claiming? Is that the right?
They did not lift anything.
No, we saw breaking a gate.
They said...
We saw them... Hold on. On TV, on national TV, we saw them breaking a gate.
Yes, and then...
Does that show a responsible leadership in the place of... on the part of NLC leadership? We saw them breaking a gate. That's gross responsibility. That's rascality taken too far.
All right, but then with the concerns I've raised about, you know, the issues around that.
I'm asking, does the party constitution not have a way to resolving such issues?
How has it
Are the courts closed? Are the courts closed? Apapa and Abure have had issues all this length. Has the camp of Apapa gone to break the Labour Party Secretariat? Are they not stakeholders as it were? Are they not stakeholders as it were? It's the act of people taking laws into their hand. And the court not just to fair. And I mean, people don't learn lessons. If you look at what is happening, you find out why Ajero was actually beaten in Imo State before the Imo State elections.
Okay, we are not going to.
No, I need to say this because this is part of the things. Because when rascality like this gets to this hand, of course you understand one of the simple things that happen. Nobody has the monopoly of violence. You don't stay somewhere and want to create anarchy in the country. You're busy asking all members to block all Labour parties in the country. We want to take the rights of every other person to work in their own states. That's national anarchy you're calling for.
Okay.
So we must find a way to stop this kind of attitude.
All right. Now, Dr. Emmanuel, sadly we are out of time. I wish we had more time to talk about this debacle between Nigerian Labour Congress and Labour Party, but we are out of time. But fingers crossed, because of course issues will still come up on the Labour Party, and you'll be right here to talk about it. Thank you so much, Dr. Emmanuel, for coming on.
Always my pleasure. But don't forget, El-Rufai could actually be doing what he's doing in El-Rufai's case to awaken APC to know that it's irrelevant, it's still alive.
Of course, point taken. And this is where we wrap it up on this episode of Open Conversation. Don't forget you can stay connected and follow us on all our socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Do not forget, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. I am Ogu Laurentia Choma. Transition News comes up next. Don't go away.
And the hypocrites.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.